Я очень рада, что вы не нашли кнопку переключиться и остались с нами. Потому что дальше мы будем
I'm really
разговаривать
happy that you have not disconnected from us and stayed with us, because right now we're going to speak about very, very interesting and very, very important thing.
это направление мне
Long
казалось
time ago, when I was young, this
непонятным в нашей
seemed
жизни,
to be
потому
the
что
least understandable in the life,
его было невозможно
because
пощупать
it was
физически.
impossible to
Вот
touch it
когда ты сказал
physically.
слово виртуализация и
And when I
облака,
was
у
told
меня загорелась
virtualization and clouds,
фиолетовая
I
бликующие
had
сигналы,
this
и я уже
monkey that
просто
hid the
ничего не понимаю.
symbols, and I didn't
И
understand
мы просто
anything about it.
вернулись во времени,
Since
и
then,
я
some
очень
time have
полюбила
passed.
облака. И
I
говорить мы с
fell in
вами будем
love with
сегодня
clouds,
про
and today we're going
безопасность
to speak about
ресурсов в
safety
облаке
of
и
cloud
облачно
resources and about
ориентированные системы защиты, в
cloud-oriented
частности,
defense
SIEM-системы.
systems,
И для этого
SIEM
у меня
systems.
сегодня
And
гость
I'm visited by
Дмитрий Оркин,
two
руководитель
Dmitry
направления
Orgin,
развития
the
информационной
head of
безопасности
development of
в
informational
Яндекс.Клауд, верно?
security of Yandex Cloud,
И
right?
Роман Сергеев, менеджер
And Roman
проекта
Sergeyev,
Max Patrol
manager
SIEM
for Max
Positive
Patrol CM,
Technologies.
developing
Я
positive
рада вас
technologies.
видеть.
I'm glad to
Скажите
see
мне,
you
пожалуйста,
here. Tell me, please,
насколько у компаний
how
популярна и
is it
востребована
popular
услуга
and
размещения
demanded
своих
the
ресурсов
service of
именно в
placing
отечественных
your
облаках?
resources
Это
in
я
domestic
обращаюсь к вам,
clouds?
Дмитрий.
And I'm asking you, Dmitry, because it's for you.
Спасибо, Юля. Если кратко,
Thank you, Julia. Briefly speaking,
по сравнению с первым
looking
полугодием
at
прошлого года,
statistics compared to the first 6 months of the last year,
такой показатель вырос на 115%.
it has grown by 115%.
Это,
It's what? What is this?
Полгода к полгоду. То есть
6 months to 6 months.
полугодие 21-го.
In the first 6 months of 2021, the first 6 months of 2022.
как думаете?
Это связано
So
как
is it connected? What
с
it's connected to?
развитием
Well, it's connected to the development of
принципа
the
облачных
principle of cloud
вычислений,
computing,
Россия. Россия
both in the world and in Russia. Russia usually follows global trends,
использование облачных технологий.
including cloud technologies.
Облака.
And speaking about domestic clouds, this is related with
Вот после известных событий с отсутствием
after
возможности
well-known events, after the absence of the possibility of using foreign clouds, or their difficulty to get their accessibility in these conditions, or those risks that the company sees in the future.
это все прийти. Поэтому
What can be the consequence of all of this? So, the cloud business is developing seriously in Russia.
является, как мы считаем,
Yandex is one of the leaders
лидером в этом
in
направлении,
this
предоставляя разные
direction
сервисы, в том числе
by providing
обеспечивая
different
необходимый уровень
services,
зрелости.
including providing the level of maturity in information security.
Поэтому это будет точно
That's why this will grow. If you will look at domestic solutions,
тенденция налицо,
the
говорится.
trend is obvious. Well, this is good. And how often companies that come to place their infrastructure in the cloud are interested to acquire some services related with information security?
Заинтересованы, кратко отвечая на вопрос, заинтересованы.
Interested? Well, very often they are interested. Everybody's interested.
Дело в
Another thing is that depending on the size and the level of maturity of information security in the company, they have different requirements to
сервисам, которые можно
those services, which can be used in the cloud or which can be placed in the cloud.
приоритетом, конечно, является,
In other words, priority is
ну, как грубо сказать, бесшовное либо нативное,
seamless or native or
ну, несложное, упрощенное использование
non-complicated usage of
решений ИБ при
solutions, information security solutions, while placing their services in the cloud or using services
представляет Яндекс.
which are provided by Yandex. Being more particular,
Ключевых
monitoring is one of the key directions of information security which
в любой организации
has to be available in any organization.
постоянным.
It has to be constantly there. So we have services which provide monitoring
Событий, в том
of
числе
main events, including information security events, providing like client, cloud
их анализа.
for their analysis.
В связи
And
с
Не совсем поняла, если честно.
I don't really understand, honestly speaking, about the connection between monitoring and the cloud. So
Предоставляете.
you provide cloud monitoring. Well, in the cloud,
набор сервисов,
Да.
there is a number of services, about 50, a little bit more than that, which are used by clients, starting
размещение виртуальных
from
машин в облаке,
placement of virtual machines in the cloud and all the way to complete solutions, turnkey solutions, and SaaS services,
хранилищем, например, или PaaS,
PaaS,
базами данных,
database services,
пользуются. И
which client uses,
возможность
and possibility of receiving
событий информационной
events,
безопасности при
including information
использовании
security
данных сервисов,
events while using these services,
она
it
необходима.
is necessary. It is necessary at any moment of time. You have to understand this is an infrastructural part, and these are placed in the cloud, and you can receive from the cloud. And then we have a question, how can we acquire this? The cloud platform
определенное решение
has certain solution in uploading these logs. There is an API which can be used. Then you should take it, analyze it, correlations, etc., etc. And this usually is done in the SIEM class solutions.
Поэтому, да,
Yeah.
есть различные интеграции.
Because there are different integrations of these monitoring services
класса SIEM,
with class SIEM solutions.
повзаимодействовав с одним из
After working with some of the leaders in this area,
практически
this solution have been realized. Well, my congratulations. Roma, slowly but carefully and unseemingly to you, and you started giving us some signs. Can you tell us, please, what is a must-have to provide cybersecurity in the cloud? And also, it would be interesting to learn about SIEM, if it cooperates with the cloud environment. Is it some specific SIEM which is from the cloud and inbuilt in the cloud, or maybe this is some specific SIEM which knows how to get in touch with the cloud and take everything from it? How does it work and what it is? Okay, let's begin. Let's start from the beginning. What is to be done? When you put the infrastructure in the cloud, what is usually being done? You should understand what happens, which risks you already have, which risks will be added while you're moving to the cloud, which of these risks are critical. Because cloud, it's a technology, but at the same time, like any other technology, it has some additional risks. There are classical examples, like when startup places something in Amazon cloud, and maybe they had under configuration, or maybe the error of the programmer. And in the case with the criminal, he sees that the computing capacity that is being rented generates overload, escalates, Amazon or Microsoft very happy, and the startup receives a bill which destroys all their commercial future. And they wanted to spend 2 years for the development. All this money went for some guys who did it. This is just a simple example that the cloud by itself adds some basic transborderness of the clouds, especially foreign ones. There are regulatory risks. Personal data is being transferred. And then you can see some problem. All the old risks are the same. The old risks, you mean what? In the traditional infrastructure. Yeah. Hardware, operational system, vulnerabilities, misconfigurations, etc. And all this has to be done. Well, depending from the situation, what type of infrastructure is being purchased by the client in the cloud or hosting, or is this SaaS or MaaS, or, well, some of the risks, traditional risks, are related with interoperability, and they can live, because we think that all this is taken by the vendor, and this is really important for the vendor to be serious and strong, so that security would be, well, under the vendor, you understand the cloud vendor. Yes, when you give something, you don't entrust only data, but also the scope of objectives related with security, which you cannot influence. If there's no control, then you have only trust. I would recommend to look at large vendors, Amazon, Yandex, Microsoft, because they will do it seriously. And let's ask, how do you provide security to your cloud? To your cloud. How do you prove reliability to your clients?
Фраза «облако своего». Да.
Well, reliability of your own cloud. Your own cloud. Well, I would like to explain to you in a couple of words. It's impossible to say.
Эфир затянется
And, you know, our broadcasting will take much longer in order to tell in details how the security is being provided.
Облачная платформа это
Because cloud platform, perhaps at a given moment of time, is one of the most complicated structures from the point of view of solutions, informatization-related solutions. Why? Because starting from virtualization, and this is also a multi-tenant architecture, also usage of single platform of virtualization for all the clients which are placed with us, because we don't have wells from every client which are physically separated. The separation is happening on the program level at the account of the safety and isolation of the hypervisor. The hyperconvergency, we use one data storage layer, and this big data cannot cross over with anything and anybody between the clouds of the clients. This is back to the phrase my own cloud. There are client clouds, this is a top level, and there's a lower level, this is the platform cloud, service clouds, on which we build the platform infrastructure, including security. And the cornerstone of this installation is the clouds of the clients. So the client, by placing its infrastructure or using services in the framework of their billing ID, in the framework of their own, they shouldn't technically receive access side, non-sanctioned access, nor moving to neighboring clouds. And this provides isolation software level and program level. And solutions in access management for privileged users, serving to architecture, and constant monitoring all the actions of the personnel. The next one in Yandex Cloud. The cloud is the development, using the base of outsourced solutions, its own development, including virtualization systems, and all the way to the solutions and information protection, information which is used. Therefore, big attention is paid to the code quality, safe development, including safety solutions and their usage. So in this case, there's a place for the modern approach, like DevOps or SRE. Those people who are involved in exploitation of these systems, internal systems, they are basically developers, this or that way. Do I properly hear you that work with the cloud, you look at this as a separate business or a separate company, a separate business company, and you build around it a protection which complies to those structural peculiarities which your business have. And this is just cloud. We create a platform which can be used by clients due to their scenarios. And right now, we're speaking about the lower part of the platform and upper part of the platform overlay. The client clouds, it is provided, it can be provided also on the side of the client. And this is depending on the model which is used. IaaS, IaaS, IaaS,
большая степень ответственности у клиента.
and more responsibility on the side of the client, because practically in the virtual space they put their own applied systems, and
Яндекс, естественно, облачные
Yandex
платформы,
cloud
облачной ответственности там минимум, и там
cloud responsibility is lowest one, and zone of responsibility of the client is bigger one. You know, if you tune it properly, you live with it. And our zone of responsibility, hypervisor, network storage, etc., etc.
используют сервисы,
If you use services,
то у него зона ответственности фактически правильно
then their zone of responsibility,
к этому сервису.
the proper level of access to the service, and possibly network settings if he has some connectedness to his own desires. And then the zone of responsibility of the cloud provider. When we are speaking with you about must-haves, we are speaking about a story when a client carries responsibility for his own security in the cloud by himself. Well, the client is always responsible for his own security.
Он выбрал какого
Да,
типа услугу.
конечно, да, и о том, как все это устроено.
What kind of service?
Может быть очень много
Because the
разных.
attacks in a lot of them.
Пролезть и через облако во внутреннюю
Criminals can get through the cloud in the infrastructure of the client, or through the internal infrastructure of the client if they have some problems on how the access tokens are stored,
и
get stronghold inside and do something bad inside, or maybe use it in your own interests and not in the interests of the client who defends himself.
важна
So it
непрерывность.
is very important to have continuity of monitoring. There shouldn't be any difference where the infrastructure is located. Right now, it is distributed for everybody. Starting from COVID, everybody went for remote communications, so cloud CMs when started growing just because everybody are outside. So Microsoft has the story with cloud CM in the course of last 2 years, and this is this misalignment. And when this code becomes diluted, you should provide in the proper point where you provide monitoring and non-reaction, they should receive more data from everywhere,
Полнота покрытия источников.
because the fullness of covering of these sources on the level of data collection, normalization, and analysis, it's a necessary condition so that monitoring as a function would be provided in SOC. So if I am, as a company, if I use cloud services, it means that in my infrastructure of informational security,
Должна быть какая-то думалка,
I should have some CM
понимать, что происходит в моей
which
области.
understands what really happens in my part of the cloud. There shouldn't be white spots on the map.
Сложно заставить
Everything should be covered. Is it difficult to make CM to understand the cloud?
Не очень. Вот
Not really difficult.
там по интеграции с Яндекс Облаком.
Integration objective for integration with the cloud, Yandex Cloud, it was easily solved, like 1 month of one specialist, because we have standard protocols supported by our CM, so the client can do it by himself without vendor support. Just requires higher level of qualification from the client or from the partner who's going to help them. But if there's a partnership support, it's going to be much cooler. Yes, we are trying to bring everything in the box.
Я еще, наверное,
Yes.
добавлю, вот,
Also would like to
что мы смогли
add
оперативно сделать интеграцию,
the fact that
еще и,
we were able to do integration
за счет, квалификации
fast enough,
тех коллег,
it was
которые
due
этим
to
занимаются.
qualification of those colleagues who were involved in it.
С компанией «Позитива»,
From the side of positive technologies,
те проблемы, с которыми сталкивались при
those
интеграции,
problems that we have faced during integration, because we wanted to do it
бесшовно, чтобы было, то есть, чтобы можно
seamless as possible, in order so that out of the box we could receive solutions
нашего сервиса
for the connection of our service
в CM.
and those logs in CM. Practically everything was solved very quickly, and we didn't see any problems with the development of connectors and solutions on the side of positive.
Сейчас фактически это как
So
отдельное
right now, this is kind of a separate solution,
ну, то есть,
Специфический источник поддержки.
Да.
specific source, yeah,
там с операционной
alongside with
системой и так далее.
operating system, etc. And this is a source.
Вот,
like
поэтому
Яндекс
это,
Cloud.
как условно-промышленное решение.
So this is an industrial solution. Well, it did happen
прям
that
совместная работа.
there
Обычно
was a
там
joint
какой-нибудь новый
work
источник, ну, вендора нет.
supporting new
Вот,
source,
вендор
but no
был,
vendor.
мы
And in
инициативно,
here, we did have
рабочая
vendor
группа.
manage the
Все
initiative,
получилось так
we had a
быстро и
working
хорошо.
group,
Там.
and everything happened so fast and beautiful.
Поэтому мы создали опять еще один проект,
That's why we have created another project, and we have been able to realize it. So I have a question about the source. Traditionally, when a new source is getting connected for the same CM, we are speaking about some entity which we are going to call one. It's as it is. Apple, we connect Apple to CM, and nothing else can be connected to the CM. Well, looks like that. Source CM, but when you see connection of the cloud as the source, then outside it looks like an apple, but inside of this apple there's a cosmos of other sources. That's the feeling I get. So which data is collected by CM from the cloud? Because in my understanding, in my head, it sounds the following way. You've connected Yandex Cloud as one of the sources for the CM, but honestly speaking, it's a cloud of different sources. Well, answering the question, which information can be collected by CM from the cloud? Any. That's what I'm speaking about. Anything, any data from anything, everything that looks like event, which has the field or anything else. This all can be put in CM, and the question is about whether there is a support out of the box or we will have to do it separately. Right now, we have some sub number of events related infrastructural events which can affect security inputs, outputs, virtual machines, access rights changes. They are supported from the box. Expert pack will be produced for detection on the basis of these events, and then we see a standard story of a source support when this support is reinforced, increased, and when we have a new idea what bad could be done by the criminal from our technical reports, we start thinking how this story can be supported in this box expertise. And from this side, we come to the necessity of supporting specific events because it's impossible to support everything. We are speaking about practical security. That's why we always are looking at real scenarios. When we see these new scenarios, we support them by our own expertise. Okay, general question to you. Well, this is your common baby. How do you forecast its destiny? How will it be demanded by your clients and our clients? I'm speaking about this story with the cloud CM.
Тут скорее это не облачный все-таки SIEM.
Well, this is not a cloud CM. This is an integration CM which can speak with the cloud. Yes, it will be demanded by all the clients who use or plan to use solutions of CM in their own infrastructure, and somehow they use Yandex Cloud platform. Strong client, because this is the simplest way to provide continuity of monitoring of your own cloud solutions. I understand. Do you want to add something? Nothing. We do have plans to support additional sources which will be brought by Yandex Cloud, and generally speaking, if you come back to the cloud CM, we are looking carefully at what clients want, and we don't have a feeling that large enterprise is ready to bring their data to the cloud in Russia. So the growth will be from some additional services like perimeter control as data source for CM, and from the side of SME, from the side of small companies which start from the cloud because they don't have their own IT and not sufficient amounts of those. So all our products either already cloud ready or will become like that within a year? Okay, thank you very much. It was really interesting. I've learned the difference between the cloud CM and CM in the cloud. These are two different CMs. I remember that. And in my studio, I had Roman Sergeyev, manager for the development of mass patrol CM positive technologies, had Dmitry Orkin, the head of the Department of Development of Information Security in Yandex Cloud. And please don't switch off because we're going to speak a little bit, but please catch next broadcast in your headphones and computers.